In this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to battle serious lens flare when you have a skylight, sun coming in, causing this issue. And we're also going to be looking at how to light multiple rooms using one flash and how to composite them super simple and fast in Photoshop. So let's get going. Alright, so this is our ambient layer, and everything I did, even trying to move the camera, tilting it down, putting my hand over it, lens hood was not going to solve the problem. There is a skylight just out of frame right here, causing serious lens flare. Now, again, this was just the time of day. I could have maybe skipped this room and come back to it at the end, maybe just another 5 or 10 minutes could have solved the problem. But again, I was just wanting to plug through it, so I tested it out with my flash shot, and this is the result I got. So it did minimize it drastically, and in my head, I knew, okay, I can fix that in Photoshop. I know for a fact. It's a simple clone edit or patch tool edit. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how we do that. But also, if you notice, we have this bathroom over here, and again, I love to run with lights off. So I am lighting every single scene in that image. Now, this is why, two reasons why I love to run with lights off. I get to control the color, you get more accurate color, and then I don't have to deal with color casts either. Because at the end of the day, when you're putting so much flash power into a room, even with the lights on, it's not like it's doing anything, it's just adding more issues. So you can tell that the lights are on sometimes, but most of the times if you do use any of that ambient layer with the lights on, they're just going to be blooming. And how do we control that? We put more flash power to it to tone them down. So it kind of is pointless in my sense. But again, that's personal preference, and of course the realtor's preference. You can try to sell it to them on saying that you're going to get more accurate color, it's going to be easier for you to edit, the images are going to look cleaner, that kind of thing. That's what I do, and that's what I tell them, and they're usually okay with that. Alright, so the other image that we're going to use is the flash pop in that bathroom. So what I did is I just came around the corner in here and took a flash pop, and so I just lit that room, the part of the bathroom that you can see without any hot spots or anything. So let's highlight both of these and edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Alright, here we go. All three images have been loaded in. The first thing that you always want to do, if you need to, is I recommend just highlighting them all, come up here to edit, auto align, and then hit OK. Now you can create a custom preset, custom action for this. I highly recommend it because every little thing that you do to make your workflow faster is going to add up to a lot of time savings. So I have tutorials on that, on how to create actions, so go check that out. So it did. See how this little border right here? That means that some of the images are slightly shifted for whatever reason, but just remember to crop that out when you go to bring it back into Lightroom, and we'll do that. Alright, so let's toggle the ambient layer off because we're going to blend that in after. And so we have our bathroom image on the bottom. Let's just move that to the top just underneath the ambient layer, and we're going to change that to lighten mode. So look what that did. It just gave us, when you turn it to lighten mode, it just takes the brightest part of that image. Basically, it's doing the opposite of darken mode if you ever did like a window pull, for example. But I don't do window pulls because I put enough light into the room where I'm lighting the room and doing a window pull all in one. Alright, so we're going to toggle that on. Now we can bring in some of that ambient layer, but you know what? We're going to do a layer mask. Command I to invert this, and we're going to just brush it in, staying away from the ceiling when possible. So let's get our flow to 5%, and this is just my personal preference. I like to just feather in very gradually where that natural light needs to be coming in, staying away from our ceiling here. Now I want to watch that I don't brush any ambient light into this bathroom, because look at how dark it's getting. It's just not something I want to do. I like to have 100% flash. If the flash is even and looking clean, we're going to leave it 100% flash. And so this is great to me. We have a skylight, so it's lighting it up anyway, so it's not like it's unnatural or unflashy. We're just basically doing that one flash pop in the room to get our window view, because it's right on the lake. We definitely want to show that. What we're going to do now is flatten this image, and I'm going to show you simply how to get rid of this lens flare. If you have any other issue like this is going to be super simple. There's nothing complex about this. We're going to Command J to duplicate it. That way, if it's not non-destructive in a way. If I get too far ahead of myself, I can just dump that layer and start over without having to backtrack. Because Photoshop will only save a certain amount of actions before you're starting over, and you're not going to be able to go back in your steps. So we're going to take the patch tool. I'm going to zoom in just to make sure I can see what I'm working on here. And we're just going to basically circle this lens flare and try to drag it and line it up with the rest of the ceiling like that. And we're going to try to do that one more time. We're just going to circle parts of it and whoop, drop that down. It's almost going to be like it was never there. This is tough because that wall is so close to white that it's hard to tell. But if we toggle that on and off, look at that. It definitely got rid of it. It eliminated enough right there. So we can still, it looks like it's a little dark right up in here. We can bring that to a brighter spot. There we go. There, it was like it was never there. Super simple. Now we can flatten this image. Let's bring it back into Lightroom by hitting Command S. It's going to bring it back into a TIFF file. I'm just going to do my interior final bump. Adjust that exposure just so we're just right of center. This line right here, so here's center line, here is my right of center line. That's basically where I love to leave that, because when I was first starting out, all my images were inconsistent. Some of them were darker, some of them were brighter, and I really couldn't tell. I was going off of the brightness of my monitor, how it looked on the screen. So if you're shooting in, a really dark room and your monitor is super bright, you might underexpose it because your monitor's brightening it up as opposed to the actual image being that bright. I hope that makes sense. So always look at your histogram, and especially when you're on site shooting, don't go based off your camera, like how bright it looks on your camera. That could be deceiving, like I was explaining with being in a dark room and the monitor being super bright, where it's giving you a false sense of it being exposed correctly. I hope that makes sense. All right, so make sure you leave a comment if you have any questions. I answer every single comment. Hit that subscribe button. Tutorials are coming out all the time to help you grow your real estate photography business. Thanks for watching.